Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Tech in 10, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs post-game show from the Ruston Daily Leader. I am sports editor Matt Bellinson, coming to you after Louisiana Tech's 25-24 loss to the Delaware Blue Hens on this Saturday, November 8th. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm going to talk about it, obviously, but it's just, yeah, I don't really have a lot of words for it anymore. But yeah, that's the final score today. Louisiana Tech loses 25-24 to the Delaware Blue Hens, effectively ending their hopes of contending for a Conference USA title. Louisiana Tech is now 5-4 overall and 3-3 in Conference USA action. Just a just an insane game, but also at the same time not that crazy. Like if you watched Louisiana Tech over the last 3.5 seasons, we're deep into year four now, so I guess we're inching closer to just say four. But man, like it's one of those games where you look at it on paper and you say, this is exactly what Louisiana Tech is. This is a team that doesn't execute. This is a team that doesn't win in the margins. Even when their opponents play off their style, they still can't win games. Delaware comes into this game as the least penalized team in Conference USA and top 25 nationally, and they finished with 12 penalties for 114 yards. Their quarterback Nick Minicucci, did a really good job this year not turning over the football. Had four interceptions coming into this game. He had two today, and you still find a way to lose because your special teams unit is a disaster. This team, they just find ways to lose. It's just kind of amazing where, like, you look at Louisiana Tech and everyone's coming off and that's what I said last week in the Sam Houston victory was like they took care of business and they did what they needed to do against a terrible Sam Houston team. So like credit them for that. But at the same time, like you knew that like nothing about that Sam Houston game was sustainable. You knew that nothing in that game like actually mattered long term as far as like replicating that week to week. You're not running for 400 yards. That's not what this offense is. You just played the worst defense in the country. That's all you did. And we clearly saw, like Louisiana Tech came back to form, came back to exactly who they are. Clay Thevenins, your leading rusher today, with 64 yards. Averaged 6.4 yards a carry, two touchdowns. I think he's established himself as clearly your best running back. But I mean, you finished with 130 yards rushing, less than 4 yards a carry. You're 4 of 11 on third down. I like that. That's who Louisiana Tech is. You have two offensive touchdowns. That's just who this program is. And Sonny Cumby can come into post game. He can come into Tuesday nights, and he can talk about how they're close and they're going to have answers. They don't have answers. This offense is broken, and again, once again, they are behind the eight ball in so many different things offensively. Some because of their own choosing, and some just because football. Like Blake Baker, again, he's been a fine quarterback this year. I think the last two games you've kind of seen him, definitely emerge a little bit more confident in the passing game. I certainly wouldn't say like he's been like all conference worthy or anything like that, but he's been playing good. He's given you opportunities to win games, and then unfortunately, he exits this game late in the first quarter, and Evan Bullock and Trey Kukuk basically take turns at quarterback throughout the rest of this game, and you clearly saw that this offense it just doesn't have consistent answers. Clay Thevenin has 39 yards rushing on 3 carries and a touchdown in the first quarter, and then he gets 1 carry through the next 2.5 quarters. I don't understand like the game plan, the decision making process of like you just spent all of last week talking about how like you feel confident in the run game, you want to establish the run game as your identity. You just ran for 400 plus yards, and then you're in a 1 point game for pretty much this entire afternoon, and up until like basically late third, early fourth quarter, you don't get your run game involved pretty much after that opening touchdown drive in that first quarter. So like I want to sit here and say like, oh man, I'm shocked, I'm surprised, but also like at the same time, Louisiana Tech is a team that doesn't execute. This is a team that hurts itself. This is a team that fails to come up with the big play. I know Jacob Fields obviously has the pick six late in the fourth with a 2 and change left, makes it 24-16. In hindsight, obviously you're not going to tell him in the moment because again, a pick six is a pick six, but in the moment, I think the smart football play probably would have been to get down, run some clock, force obviously Delaware to call some timeouts, but obviously you're going to take the points in that situation. You're going to extend it. You're going to make it an 8-point game. Let Delaware go down the field and eventually tie it. And then they go down the field, and because your defense, again, can't come up with stops late in the game. You're the most penalized team in this conference, and it showed on the final drive. Pass interference on fourth down. Then you get a face mask. It's just it's inexplicable. If I can say that word, I probably can't. But it's also Louisiana Tech. It's also who this program is. They don't know how to win games against real competition. They can beat Sam Houston, and they can puff their chest, and they can beat New Mexico State, which, by the way, those teams combined have one conference win this year. So congrats. You beat New Mexico State, you beat Sam Houston. But that's not who you are. This offense is bad. They don't execute. Once again, you go into halftime. It's so weird. They like to go back and forth of which halves they don't like to play. This week it was the first half. Typically it's been the second half, but this week it was the first half where all of their road games this year combined in the first half they have 3 offensive touchdowns. Not a recipe for success when you're playing that much football and you have 3 offensive touchdowns. Your defense kept you in this one. Again, 2 takeaways, obviously a pick 6. I thought they really pressured Minicucci tonight, really made him uncomfortable. Never really got that passing game going like I think we were expecting going into this one. But still, you allow a 75-yard drive in the closing minutes, horrible penalties, and you don't make the stop that you need to. And Delaware then allows themselves to attempt the onside kick. Louisiana Tech calls timeout. Sonny Cumbie told me post-game they wanted to get aligned correctly. They wanted to figure out what exactly Delaware was doing. So much for that, because then Delaware lines up and kicks the exact onside that they were going to before the timeout, and they recover it. And they start inside your 45, and then their kicker, of course, makes a career-long 51-yard field goal. Of course, he was 4-for-4 today in field goals, by the way. Tech's kicker was 2-for-3. 1-for-3, I should say. It's just one of those things where, again, Louisiana Tech and Sonny Cumbie, they're going to keep telling people that they're close. They're going to keep telling people that they're going to get things fixed, that they're not going to splinter, that this is the closest team they've ever had, and that's great. I'm glad that they can continue to come in and say those things, but the results are the results. This program is 3-20 on the road under Sonny Cumbie. That's a fact. This team doesn't know how to win on the road unless it's UTEP. I don't know what the answer is with this team. I mean, their season in terms of contending for a Conference USA title is over. Obviously mathematically they only need one more win to make a bowl game, but at this point I'm not really sure how that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to have to be that Liberty game, here in 2 weeks back at home, because I don't think they're going to go on the road and beat Washington State in Pullman, Washington at a 9 p.m. Central kickoff. So that's just my opinion, but it's one of those things where, again, if you're a Louisiana Tech fan, you leave this game tonight saying, how could that possibly happen? But then at the same time, if you've been awake for any single moment of the Sonny Cumbie era, you then splash cold water on your face and you realize, oh wait, this team doesn't execute. You realize that this team, just because there's 34 seconds left and Delaware, failed on the 2-point conversion, the game's not over. Are you kidding? Absolutely not. And I just kind of sat here laughing. I just in full transparency, I just sat here laughing in that final 30 seconds, just because the game is never over with Louisiana Tech. Whether it be a couple years ago, obviously Jacksonville State, the Hail Mary to send it to overtime, and then obviously this game here today. I don't know how this program finds ways to lose, but they continue to find them. And there's three games left in this year, so I'm sure they're going to find some other ways as well. So. I think my big picture takeaway, because again, I am done talking about how this offense doesn't score points. I'm done talking about how they don't execute in the red zone. If you want to talk about that, guess what? There's a whole backlog of Tech and 10 videos from the past 2.5 seasons that you can go through. Because I actually texted 3 people during the third quarter of this game, and I said, if you had time traveled from the 2024 season and then sat on my couch next to me and watched this game today, and I didn't tell you that this game was in 2025, you could have said, oh boy, I guess they must have played a bowl game against Delaware and continued the 2024 season. This was exactly the 2024 season. Red zone ineptitude, field goal operation is a disaster. Your defense keeps you in games, turning the football over, and then the defense, at times for as good as they've been, we saw it multiple times last year against Tulsa, against NC State, against New Mexico State, where this defense has a lead to play with, and then the opponent drives down the field or either ties it or wins the game. So it's just one of those things where like they want to keep saying that they've improved and they want to keep saying that they're a different team, but like the results are the same, the outcomes are the same, the execution is the same, and I'm tired of going into these weeks where we're told that they have figured things out. I'm tired of you as the fan base being told that don't worry, we're close. Don't worry, it's finally time, and we're not worried about outside noise. We're not worried about that we only have 3 road wins here, and we're going to get things figured out. It's at the point in the Sonny Cumbie era where like who knows how much longer that's going to last. But they're at the point now where they have to prove it. I'm tired of going into games where it's like they say they want to establish things. They say that things are fixed. We're going to work on penalties. We're going to work on special teams execution. We're going to work on offensive consistency. We're going to stay ahead of the chains. Like they don't do anything that they talk about. Again, I tweeted it out during the game. Like they don't maintain an identity. Like they're just coming off like, okay, you want to talk about how great you ran the ball against Sam Houston? Fine, go prove it against a Delaware team that gave up 59 points last week to Liberty and struggled against the run. Go prove it, and they can't even do that because again, this offense has no identity. They want to run, fade routes with Devin Gandy and Marlon Jackson, 6 times during the first half, which I think Tech completed 1 time. Even on 3rd and 3, like 3rd and 3, hey, that's the time where you tell Clay Thevenin, get behind this offensive line and let's go pick up a first down. Nope, first drive of the game, let's throw a 15-yard fade route to Devin Gandy, which of course falls incomplete. Again, that's just like coaching. I'm just like, what is the thought process there? That is such a low percentage throw on a critical down and distance. Like I don't understand the thought process there. But that's what this team does. Just when you think that it's right in front of them to take it, they say actually no, you can have it. And they don't do the little things right. They don't execute. What were they today on 3rd down? 4 of 11. Yeah, just typical once again. Your quarterbacks don't throw for a single touchdown. Like again, like this. Obviously, there was different wrinkles in today's game. 2 missed field goals. Obviously, the onside kick was major, and the defensive laps. There's just so many things. Like again, I go back through the Sonny Cumbie era, and I go 2022. This Tech offense was actually pretty decent. Top I think top 50 in the country in passing offense, not scoring, but passing offense they were. But their defense was historically bad. And the defense was historically bad again in 2023, and the offense took a little bit of a step back, but still pretty decent. And then last year, the offense was historically bad, and your defense was historically good. And now this year, your defense, taking the ball away at a historic rate, but probably not, I would say, like as far as total defense, red zone defense, they're really good, but I think total defense and pass defense, they're definitely not what they were last year. And then your offense, I don't think they're as bad as they were last year, but they're not great, and they're still pretty bad. And now this year, like just throwing for fun wrinkles, your special teams unit is a disaster. You have no field goal kicker. Your punt and kickoff return unit is good for about 4 penalties a game. I just don't know. It's just something new every single week with this team. Even in wins, there's always something where you're like, man, I thought we were past this. I thought they said that this was fixed. Nope. It's the same old Louisiana Tech. So. I could keep going and rambling, but again, I don't really think this game is worth it. Again, if you watch this game, this is a game that Tech just gave away, and their special teams unit completely crumbled, and just handed the game to Delaware. So, Louisiana Tech, like I said, falls to 5-4 overall. They are 3-3 in league play. Conference USA title once again for the 4th year in a row, and the Sonny Cumbie era is off the board. So now Louisiana Tech, all they get to play for at this point is a bowl game, and they have 3 more opportunities to do it, to get to bowl eligibility. So that's going to do it for this edition of Tech in 10. I appreciate everyone listening and following along this season. Thanks again. Have a good one.